Prathibha, and the top focus here is the suspended Women and Child Development Department official Premoday Khakha, who was arrested on charges of raping a minor girl. And now it's been revealed that there were previous sexual harassment complaints against him, and yet no action was taken against him. The question being, who was shielding this official? Sources say that at least 4 other women had filed sexual harassment complaints against him to the department between 2018 and 2022. In fact, the complainants were working at a mental health unit in Seva Kutir complex, where Khakha was posted as superintendent. While 2 of the complainants were counsellors, 1 complainant was a clinical psychologist working at the unit. The 4th was an anonymous complaint, and Times Now spoke to 2 of the complainants who have alleged that their voices were unheard when they tried raising the issue.
मैम, क्योंकि प्रेमोदय खाका के खिलाफ में अब रेप केस जो चल रहा है वो एक माइनर का रेप केस है, तो जुवेनाइल भी इसमें इन्वॉल्व है। क्या ऐसा कुछ आपको अपने ऑफिस में देखने को मिला, क्योंकि आपने भी वहाँ पर काम किया है? क्या इस तरीके का माहौल वहाँ पर ऑफिस में रहता?
जी, वहाँ पर जुवेनाइल होम में जो बच्चे होते थे वो सारे जुवेनाइल अक्यूज होते थे। उनके साथ भी पॉक्सो के केसेस को आते थे, जिनको ये दबाने के लिए हमसे प्रेशराइज करके मैनिपुलेट कराते थे रिपोर्ट्स को, और जो पॉक्सो के मैटर थे उनको हाइड करने के लिए, रिपोर्ट ना करने के लिए दबाव बनाया जाता था।
मैम, विशाखा गाइडलाइंस के अकॉर्डिंग एक इंटरनल कमेटी हर एक ऑफिस में होना ज़रूरी होता है। क्या वो यहाँ पर थी? क्या आपने उन तक अपनी बात पहुँचाई?
सेक्रेटरी को शुरुआत में ही इन्फॉर्म किया गया था कि इस तरह की घटनाएं चल रही हैं अंदर, और हमें असुरक्षा की भावना हमारे अंदर पनप गई थी, तो हमें सुरक्षा उपलब्ध कराई जाए इस तरीके की घटनाओं से, ताकि आगे किसी के साथ ना हो। लेकिन नियमित समय पर कार्रवाई नहीं हो पाई थी, और फिर हमने आगे जाके कंप्लेंट DCW किया, और IC जो थी वो शायद बाद में बनी थी। हमारी जो कंप्लेंट थी उसके काफ़ी समय बाद में IC का गठन हुआ था।
मैम, क्योंकि जुवेनाइल का भी यहाँ पर मैटर आ रहा है, क्या उसको लेकर भी आपकी तरफ से कोई आवाज़ उठाई गई?
बिल्कुल, हमने उसका कंप्लेंट जो कंसर्न बोर्ड के मजिस्ट्रेट हैं उनको किया था। वहाँ से JJC को इनका गया था, JJC से विद इमीडिएट इफेक्ट इनका ट्रांसफ़र हुआ था, और इनको किसी भी बाल संरक्षण गृह में तैनाती ना दी जाने की अनुशंसा की गई थी हाईकोर्ट की तरफ से। लेकिन फिर भी इनको बाद में डिपार्टमेंट ने आगे जो भी प्रमोशन दिया है वो सब विभाग के अंतर्गत आता है।
इसका मतलब कि ये तो काफ़ी बड़ी घटना है जो वहाँ पर हुई थी, जुवेनाइल्स के साथ में हुई, आप लोगों की तरफ से भी करा गया। तो क्या एक्शन की डिमांड मैम आप करना चाहती हैं? आखिरी सवाल मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ।
मेरा सिर्फ सवाल ये है कि ये क्राइम किसी एक व्यक्ति के खिलाफ नहीं, समस्त समाज के खिलाफ है। अगर आज इस व्यक्ति को छोड़ दिया गया तो कल आप इसकी गंभीरता का अनुमान लगा सकती हैं, और शायद पूर्व में हुई घटनाओं पर ध्यान नहीं दिया गया, जिसके चलते आज इतनी बड़ी एक घटना सामने आई है।
धीरे धीरे जब चीजें टाइम से ऊपर हो जाती हैं तो फिर इंसान जब वॉइस रेज करता है तो उसके साथ इसी तरह की चीजें होती है। सुनवाई कहीं पे भी नहीं होती, किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म पे नहीं होती। मैम, ये मैंने जनवरी 2019 में ही रख दी थी।
जनवरी 2019 में आपने सामने आकर ये बात कही थी कमेटी को?
DCW को, इनके मैंने वुमेन हेल्पलाइन का जो सेल था वहाँ पे C बॉक्स पे मैंने सब जगह ये बात कही थी। इवन जो हमारे JJB 1 और 3 के जो मजिस्ट्रेट थे वो भी जानते थे। मैंने 2 कंप्लेंट की थी, एक सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट और एक चाइल्ड वायलेशन राइट्स पे भी की। मजिस्ट्रेट है अरुण वर्मा, उन्होंने उस एप्लीकेशन को फॉरवर्ड किया था JJC को। JJC के बेसिस पर इसका इमीडिएट ट्रांसफर किया गया था, और इसके इमीडिएट ट्रांसफर के बाद हमें वहाँ से हटा दिया गया था बिना किसी रीजन के।
क्या आपने DCW में भी कंप्लेंट की थी जैसे आपने मेंशन किया?
जी हाँ, DCW में की थी। DCW की हर तारीख, हर हियरिंग पे मैं गई, पर DCW से भी मेरे को कोई हेल्प इस मैटर पर नहीं मिली। CC दल जब थे वहाँ पे तो उन्होंने मुझे कोशिश किया था कि वो मुझे स्वाति मालीवाल से मिलाएंगे, लेकिन फिर उसके बाद उन्होंने मुझे मिलवाया नहीं।
Well, the Delhi Minister Atishi, who holds charge of the Women and Child Development Department, has written to the Chief Secretary now, citing media reports on the sexual harassment complaints against Khakha. She said that if the senior officers knew about the complaints, this raises serious questions, and asked why no action was taken despite repeated complaints. She has sought a report from the Chief Secretary asking for details of the complaints and if an inquiry was done or not. Meanwhile, the BJP has alleged that the action was not taken against Khakha because he was attached to a minister's office.
This is a very, very shocking case. And what makes it extremely painful is the number of victims who are now coming out to show that he was a predator, evidently a predator. He had a pattern. He was moving along with it impunity, perhaps because he was attached to a minister's office in the Aam Aadmi Party government, and that to a minister who's concerned with this activity. No action was taken, no investigation was taken, and it finally culminates in the most horrific story of a child who trusts herself into their care to be raped. That's a very serious allegation.
So the question is, was this official being shielded? If yes, by whom and why? These are the questions that we're going to see whether it can be answered today. Nighat Abbass, BJP, joining us on the broadcast. Parvinder Singh Sethi, political analyst, on the broadcast with us. Ms. Nighat Abbass, you know, the details that have come in now are so shocking. The miners incident itself sent shivers down the spine of the entire country. And now details coming in that there was not just one or two, 4 women who had previously complained against this official, and despite that, no action was taken.
Absolutely, Prathibha, and I feel that Women and Child Development Department has been a very infamous department under Delhi's government, because initially also we've seen that how Sandeep Kumar, who was the former minister from Aam Aadmi Party from the same ministry, had the same kind of allegations against him, that he had asked for sexual favors from women in the exchange of ration cards. And now this, a Delhi government officer had been raping a minor girl for 5 months, and then 2018 and 2022, between that period, he had 4 complaints against him of sexual harassment. And apparently, despite of that, Swati Maliwal, Atishi Marlina and the Delhi government did not take any action of it. Prathibha, I'll tell you what. This, instead of the rape case, sounds to me something more fishy. It sounds of human trafficking. And I'll tell you why. It's just not the rape case. And I'll tell you why. In 2020, it was the clear order of Supreme Court that if any minor child loses his or her parent, the information of that child has to be uploaded on Bal Swaraj portal. And then CWC will take the cognizance of where the child has to stay. But in her case, the information of that girl was missing from the Bal Swaraj portal. It feels it is, you know, extremely horrific, and it seems that there's something fishy. Why? Because the information of that girl is missing, it probably you know, being purposefully done, that the information of that girl has been extracted out, is been misled, and has not been registered there for some particular reason, so that she doesn't remain in the books.
Yes,
it could be a case of human trafficking,
so there were
which is
4 people who were working in the department who came forward to speak about sexual harassment that they were undergoing. They had written, but there was an inquiry committee that was constituted and gave him a clean chit, and there was no further inquiry. He did not even step down from his post yet. Is it because he was part of a minister's, attached to the minister's unit? I just want to take this across to Parvinder Singh Sethi as well. Mr. Parvinder, what explains this laxity? So many complaints coming forward, but one official who stays away from any kind of purview.
नहीं, ये बड़ी दुखद और दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है। जिस देश की महिलाएं, जो माइनर बच्चे हैं, उनके साथ इस तरह का अपराध हो रहा है। लेकिन मैं ये बताना चाहता हूं कि ये लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का मसला है, पुलिस का मसला है, और पुलिस का इसके अंदर टोटल फेलियर है। जो पुलिस जो है एलजी के अंडर है, सेंट्रल सरकार के अंडर है, उसके साथ साथ भारत भूषण शरण जो देश के बड़े बड़े खिलाड़ियों के साथ, उनके ऊपर भी वो आज तक गिरफ्तार नहीं है। इनको तो इमीडिएटली ही हैज बीन अरेस्टेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट, एंड वो अरेस्ट कर गए हैं, उनके ऊपर एक्शन ले लिया है। आप उसके ऊपर क्यों नहीं बात करते? भारत भूषण शरण के ऊपर क्यों नहीं बात की जाती? जो जिसको भारतीय जनता पार्टी बचाने का काम करती है, ये डीसीडब्ल्यू की बात करते हैं, एनसीडब्ल्यू की बात करते हैं, मैं पुलिस की बात करता हूं, लॉ रिफॉर्म्स की बात करता हूं।
Why Delhi government did not take any cognizance of the complaints against him?
You tell me why भारत भूषण शरण सिंह को क्यों बचाया जा रहा है और अभी तक उनको अरेस्ट क्यों नहीं किया गया?
Mr. Parvinder Singh Sethi, you're saying that this comes under the Delhi police, but this is under the Women and Child Department. Mr. Parvinder Singh Sethi, if you can listen to me, this comes under the Women and Child Department. Are you saying that your government is not going to take any responsibility of it, saying that a complaint had been filed in this regard and the police did not intervene? So was the department not aware of these complaints that have been filed against him? If not for a criminal inquiry, could action not be taken? He could have stepped down from his post until an inquiry is ordered.
He has to know that the complaint was filed on the 11th and the FIR was registered.
डेफिनेटली ये जांच का विषय है. अगर उसके अंदर कोई व्यक्ति दोषी पाया जाता है उसके ऊपर एक्शन लेना पड़ेगा. लेकिन आप मुझे ये बताइए, ये जो और लोग हैं, जो और बच्चे हैं, जो जिन लोगों ने देश के अंदर खिलाड़ियों ने करा, आप भारत भूषण शरण की बात तक उसको पुलिस में अरेस्ट नहीं करा गया, उसके ऊपर कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया गया. भारतीय जनता पार्टी उसको बचाने का काम करती है. इनको शर्म आनी चाहिए. ये नेशनल टीवी पर बैठकर बात करते हैं, लेकिन अपने सांसद को बचाने का काम.
This is a matter that's mentioned time and again. Nighat, I request you to hold on 1 second. This happens every single time there's a crime in the national capital, in this blame game between the Aam Aadmi Party as well as the LG, blaming the centre. It is the people of Delhi who end up suffering. And I want to ask you, Mr. Parvinder Singh Sethi, I want to ask you, you said that this comes under the Delhi police. This was an internal committee that had already given him a clean chit. And we're talking about the Women and Child Development that comes under the Aam Aadmi Party government. So are you saying that you were not aware of this at all? The government was not aware of it, did not take any action? Or is it that the internal committee gave him a clean chit because he was a special officer?
नहीं, मैंने इसके बारे में ये बोला है. अगर वहाँ पे कोई इस तरह की बात हुई है तो ये जांच का विषय है और जो लोग दोषी पाए जाएंगे उनके ऊपर एक्शन लिया जाएगा. लेकिन ये भारत भूषण शरण के बारे में क्यों नहीं बात करते? जो देश के अंदर जितने खिलाड़ी हैं, जिनको प्रधानमंत्री ने भी सम्मान दिया, इनके सांसद को बचाने का काम करा, ये उसके बारे में क्यों नहीं बात करते? उसको आज तक वो आजाद घूम रहा है, उसको सस्पेंड नहीं किया गया, उसको सांसद का रेजिग्नेशन नहीं लिया गया, उसको पुलिस ने अरेस्ट नहीं किया गया. ये लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का फेलियर है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव फेलियर है. पुलिस इनके पास है, देश की सुरक्षा इनके पास है.
How can you say it's an administrative failure? This is, this comes under the Women and Child Development. The department comes under the government. How are you saying that the Delhi police did not take action? In fact, when the FIR was filed, it was several days later when we saw officials from the Aam Aadmi Party even talking about it. In fact, I'm not even going to the DCW chief, coming to it only after several days of the FIR being filed. Until then, the matter was being hushed up. And this is not something new. But I also want to tell you, there is a letter from the Delhi High Court that it was written to the Delhi government. And back then, when Sisodia was the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, he was tasked with forming a committee to investigate into the matter. And this is what we're talking about. So the top leaders of the government were aware of this. There had been letters from the Delhi High Court as well asking them to take action. They formed an internal inquiry committee and immediately gave him a clean chit.
नहीं, आप जो कह रही हैं, मैंने कहा वो जांच का विषय. लेकिन मैं बोलना चाहता हूं कि दिल्ली पुलिस को किसी की इंस्ट्रक्शन की जरूरत नहीं है एक्शन लेने के लिए. दिल्ली पुलिस क्या पॉलिटिकल लोग जब एक्शन उसके ऊपर एक्शन लेंगे तभी एक्शन लेगी. दिल्ली पुलिस को के ऊपर पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर बनाया जाता है.
Delhi police saying this comes under the purview of the Delhi police. Absolute silence on the letter that was written and any accountability from the Aam Aadmi Party government.
बार-बार पूछ रहा हूं, मैं बार-बार ये प्रश्न कर रहा हूं. भारत भूषण शरण के ऊपर पॉक्सो एक्ट लगा था, उसको आज तक गिरफ्तार नहीं किया गया.
Mr. Sethi, you'll have to listen. No, you're not taking responsibility. You will have to listen to a counter. You refuse to take up responsibility what has happened. Okay, Nighat, go ahead.
Right now.
Yes, go ahead, Nighat.
You can't be giving illogical facts. No, a repeated predator, an offender who had 4 sexual complaints against him, and the party and the government at the DCW did not take any action. My friend, no, Prathibha, I will not speak like that. You have to allow me undisturbed time. A woman is speaking for women.
Nighat, go ahead.
A woman is speaking to a woman about a woman. Sethi ji shouldn't be allowed. Thank you. A predator, an offender, sexually harassed 4 other women. The party, the DCW, Aam Aadmi Party's government, Kejriwal ji, DCW President Swati Maliwal did not take any action, did not take any cognizance of it. In fact, 11th of August, the complaint has been filed. 13th, the FIR gets registered. Till then, Swati Maliwal is sitting. For 10 days, she's just sitting. The 10th day, when Bharatiya Janata Party, the newspapers, people like you, journalists like you, exposed her and Aam Aadmi Party, this girl comes and tries to manipulate. Or probably, I want to know why this poor girl, who was just 14 years old when she got raped, was quiet, was under depression, under anxiety attacks for 3 years. She was quiet probably because Swati Maliwal was constantly trying to heckle with her, constantly trying to manipulate and allegate this. I am telling this why, because the reasons, the question remains unexplained even now, that why this girl was forced to live with her uncle, despite of the fact that her mother was alive, the biological mother was alive. Why, since so many days, Swati Maliwal did not take any cognizance of it? She got the information, the FIR has been filed.
Yes, in fact, after the FIR had been filed, it took several days for Swati Maliwal to come forward, and she protested, claiming she is not being allowed to meet the victim. But the question being, after the FIR had been filed, she was surely aware that an official in her department is facing such grave allegations. Why is it that until then there was an attempt being made to hush up the entire matter? And that's a big question. We'll have to leave it at that thought on whether there was an attempt to shield an official who had so many complaints against him and had been sexually harassing women. Who is guilty here, the official and all those who are shielding him? We'll have to leave it at that. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast. We're stepping into a quick break here. We'll be right back.